right, and welcome to Forgotten Popcorn, where we talk about movies that have made us to forget eating our popcorn. Today we're talking about The Dark Knight.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
All right,
fantastic
guys.
movie.
This movie was made in 2008. Do you guys remember when you saw it first? It's a while back.
No idea.
Not a chance.
I'm going to guess I was probably 10 or 12 years old-ish, so like 2012, let's say. At home, just randomly, no idea it's a part of a trilogy.
Yeah.
No idea who Christopher Nolan is, just Batman movie, why not?
Yeah.
I was a little bit in the same boat. I'd already seen Batman Begins, so I knew there was a trilogy. I knew there was a trilogy because I saw it after The Dark Knight Rises. But the thing is, the reason I saw The Dark Knight was because of the whole thing that was happening at the movie theater way back when The Dark Knight Rises happened.
Mm-hmm.
You guys heard about the guy
Yep.
that went into the USA.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much shot up the theater. Obviously, it was a huge thing. Like, everybody was terrified.
Yeah.
Because of that, everybody in my family was like, well, what kind of happened? What made him want to do that? So everybody said it was apparently like inspired by the Joker in The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's performance.
Mm-hmm.
So then at home, I saw this movie.
Okay.
At home, not in
At
theaters.
home,
Okay.
after 2012, because the movie came out in 2008.
So I was going to say, like,
Yeah.
your family was like, oh, this guy shot up a theater? Let's go to the movies.
I did. I was actually I was on vacation in Florida. And we were in the midst of traveling when we heard about it. And then when we got there, we were like, let's go see it.
Nice.
It's maybe not the brightest choice on our end, but I think that was another one of those big news segments, especially
Yeah, I had completely forgotten about it until you just now brought it up, the whole story.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it was huge. It was
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
I remember they even like swarmed the guy's house and everything.
Yeah,
It was a whole.
Although, for the viewers and for the listeners, from what I remember from updates about it, there was reports that he was dressed up as the Joker when he did it. Not true. It was just a freak thing to happen, and I think a lot of we talked about Joker in episode 1, and I talked about how the media was very much up against what message it may have portrayed. It was very similar to this. I think the media definitely jumped in and they did what they do, and we all know how that works out. But I still went to see it. So.
Any opportunity they can get to bash something that's big, they'll jump on
absolutely.
it instantly.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But for me, similar as well. Too young to remember even seeing it. I might have even have gone to see it because my dad would just drag me to anything. It doesn't matter what age. So I've got pretty lucky in that sense. But I guess I wasn't ever able to actually retain any of it until I probably watched it maybe similar to you guys. I wish I could remember. I really do.
Yeah, same, honestly. I don't even just remember watching Batman Begins for the first time, maybe like 10-ish years ago, a bit less. Before that, no clue it even existed. 2005, I was 5 years old when it came out. Forget it.
Yeah, the only reason I think I could remember sort of when I watched it was, it's funny because when the movie came out, everybody was so amazed by the performance by Heath Ledger and just the way he just pulled off the entire role. And it was just this, just pure art on his end, and everybody was so obsessed. And I remember I went to a dinner with some family and some friends of people and stuff like that. And one of the sons of a friend of mine, he's now a stage performer. He does theater.
Cool.
He could do one of the most wicked, reincarnated, he did it perfectly. Heath Ledger to the T. It was crazy.
It'd be terrifying to see in real life.
No, he did
yeah.
amazing. It was fantastic. I have it on my DS. Remember when the DS could record clips?
Yep.
So that's the earliest memory I have of that, and that is easily 2012, maybe even a little bit earlier. I mean, it was the IDS. It wasn't the older ones. If anybody remembers the revolutionary one camera on the front, camera in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I find exactly like you said, it was a phenomenon that took over everywhere. Even in Halloween of when this movie came out, right after, almost everywhere, everyone was dressed up as Joker.
I was.
Oh, there you
I
go.
100% was. Yeah, I had a plastic mask that would just go over the top. I had like the whole cloak and everything like that, and like I
Was it like the Joker makeup mask
Yeah, it was
or the
Joker-
bank heist one?
No, it was a Joker makeup one.
Okay.
And it had just like it was just one string, and you just plop it over the top, easy as simple as that.
No, man.
Yeah, I was obsessed with Joker and like just that movie during that Halloween.
Yeah. And of course, him winning the Oscar as well.
Oh yeah.
After his death.
After, yeah.
Everywhere on the news because it rarely happens. Was he the first one for that to happen?
I don't
It's a
know.
really good question.
'Cause I can only say it's happened maybe like once or twice. Chadwick got close to winning one,
Yes,
but
that's right.
other than that, like
Yeah. You know, I'm great. Thanks for bringing that up, Will, actually, because I let's just jump into that because
let's do it.
Yes, his passing, very tragic. And I want to reiterate that his performance was more than, anything that anybody could have done. And where I'm going with this is that his Oscar win wasn't pity. It wasn't
Not at all.
them going, he should just win it because of it. No, like that's not it. His performance legitimately holds up through the past several years since the movie's come out, and nobody's been able to touch his performance. And even film critics and teachers and everybody, they look at his performance and they use it as an example of how to portray a character.
Oh yeah. I mean, even like Michael Caine, he was very like skeptical about Heath Ledger going in, especially after Jack Nicholson did it. He said, you know what, nobody's gonna really like beat Jack Nicholson. Like Jack Nicholson was definitely a clown, right, for his Joker.
Yeah.
And then
Another great performance. Like,
Yeah,
not
amazing.
to like
100%.
turn him down or anything.
Exactly. But then like after seeing Heath's performance, he kind of said, you know what, I gotta hand it to Heath. You definitely did it.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm looking at right here, the actor in a supporting role that year, he beat out some massive names. Josh Brolin, Robert Downey Jr. for Tropic Thunder.
Oh, really?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Like, which one's that for?
Doubt. I can't say I've seen that movie.
I haven't seen it.
But it's Philip Seymour
I'm
Hoffman.
sure he did well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not small names here that he's beating out. It's, 1000% deserved. Definitely not a pity vote. It's
No.
performance of a lifetime. No one's come close since, I don't think.
It's impossible,
No,
honestly.
yeah.
I don't think. I mean, we talked about Joaquin. I'm sure he came close in a lot of different aspects, but
like you mentioned, they're two completely different performances, two different
Exactly.
Jokers.
yeah,
But if you look performance alone,
it's not the
he
same.
takes it a step above. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, yes, Heath Ledger, he was amazing, but I feel like it was just the whole production of the movie. Like everybody did such an amazing role in making this kind of superhero movie that is pretty much proclaimed by a lot of people as either the best superhero movie or one of the best superhero movies out there. Like personally, I think it's The Dark Knight and Into the Spider-Verse. Or which one's the first one? Across the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So
I mix it up too. Don't worry. All the time.
The Dark Knight and Into the Spider-Verse are honestly, I think, my two favorite superhero movies. And honestly, there's a reason for it, right? They made the movie so incredibly well done. We had a talk last show about sequels, and honestly, this is up there with one of the best sequels ever made.
It's up there with Top Gun Maverick.
Oh yeah. yeah.
But no, you say it's one of the best superhero movies. It's one of the best movies, period.
Of course.
Like IMDb has it third all time.
Yeah.
It's 24th on Letterboxd. Like it's just up there as, forget comic books.
Yeah.
It's just one of the best movies ever made. And I
100%.
fully stand by that.
Yep. That's where it stands alone. Because like, if people can say like this is the best comic book movie, this is the best action movie, but if you can say something is the best movie, one of the best movies is an achievement. And Christopher Nolan has done an amazing work, and he rarely just, even his duds are still worth seeing, but some of them are not as good. Tenet. So I have to. It's not gonna be the first time. You'll see. But it's just one of those movies that like it works so well because you could just watch The Dark Knight and nothing else surrounding it and still understand everything that Batman stands for, what the message is, and that's it. You don't need prior knowledge. Unlike these Marvel movies these days, you do need a bit of context sometimes, and
You
it
need
sucks
to watch
as
26 movies that
Right.
came before,
Yeah.
5 TV shows.
you're alienating
Yeah.
a group of people.
Like, I love the MCU, but at this point, it's impossible to get into it. No one can just jump in and be like, yeah, okay, I'll start catching up now. It's like, it's
You
such
have
a
to watch.
commitment. Like,
You have to watch so much. I mean, while everything was on lockdown, I just, because I was bored, I saw all
You
of
have
them.
the
I
time for
rewatched
it.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in every regular day, no. It's
No,
like
no.
there's
No.
not much time. You pretty much spending like weeks and weeks. If you're really like putting in time for work, for school, for your own free time, and then you're trying to
Yeah.
watch like the whole MCU, doesn't
Yeah.
really work.
no. This is great. And you don't even have to watch Batman Begins.
No, that's it.
I didn't see it. I
Yeah.
saw this before Batman Begins and fully understood what was happening. It's like, yes, it's a
Yeah.
sequel,
Yeah.
but it's such a good standalone as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Batman Begins recently because we got the lovely pack here, the trio of movies. I actually watched. Does anybody remember before Blu-ray was taking off? They had a different disc format that was just called like HD something. I can't remember the name of it, but it had the red banner at the top of the box. Let me see if I can remember the exact name.
Oh my God, you just hit like a random ticklish part of my brain, like way back where
I have no clue what you're talking about.
like I can picture it, but I don't know what you were talking about. I know. Okay, there's a format. Okay, it's not a format, but I usually used to rent movies through Redbox.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever I'd pass by, like in the U.S., they don't have it here, but it kind of rings a bell. Kind of like a red format.
So
oh my God.
what I'm seeing here online, it was just called HD DVD. That's what it was called, and essentially, it was just a higher bit rate than your standard, which at that point was more or less SD. So this was a leap forward in technology during the time. So Batman Begins was one of the selling points of this technology, sort of like how we have now. We have certain Marvel movies showing like the IMAX version of the movie on like Disney Plus.
Right.
So that was what it was at the time. So I remember watching it on that, and I do remember oddly remembering Batman Begins more than I remember The Dark Knight, but because it scarred me, because Scarecrow scarred me when I was younger. So, and I finally got over it. Just recently though,
Yeah.
just in time for Oppenheimer, I got over it.
Have to bring it up, eh?
Again, not gonna be the first time.
Nope.
Yeah.
I gotta say, in comparison to Batman Begins, we had an amazing way of introduction to a character in Batman Begins. I'm trying to understand the character behind him. But in my opinion, this is my favorite opening scene in any single movie ever.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
This is my favorite
Legendary
opening scene.
Yes.
scene.
Oh my
It-
God.
well,
my God. Oh boy, here we
Okay.
go.
It's your favorite opening scene of any film you've watched?
Okay, Indiana Jones is a close second.
All
The
right.
first Indiana Jones
So,
for me.
so anybody who's listening, here's a little heads up into the future. We're going to be watching Inglourious Bastards next.
Okay. Shit.
Will knows exactly where I'm going with this. Once you watch that again, I have already gotten into it. That opening sequence, once you watch it, you'll realize that is the best opening, I think, to any film. It is just...
I was going through a list of movies in my head, like opening scenes, completely forgot about Inglourious
Yeah.
Basterds. Oh.
No, I forgot about 2. The only reason I remembered is because I just started watching it again for the next episode. I'm not going to go into it because that's not what this one's about, but stay tuned. It will be out soon. It's one of those movies that that opening sequence, it's studied by everybody because it's just nails everything. But we'll get into it in the next episode, so stay tuned.
All that to say, maybe Inglourious Basterds is better for you. This bank heist is
Yes, it's still it's
incredible,
absolutely, yeah. By all means, the score is
I
fantastic
was about
for
to say,
it.
it starts straight away with the score.
Yep,
that-
immediate.
Oh,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hans Zimmer back at it. Oh
Always.
my God.
Always.
This man,
the
he's
Zimmer
legendary.
Nolan collabs, man.
I
They're
love their
always
collabs.
crazy.
I feel like it was just honestly the way that we were just like introduced to the Joker. It was just, you kept seeing a bunch of clowns, you kept seeing a bunch of commotion and chaos, and you were like, what's happening? Like what's going on? You were pretty much confused. But then you kind of understood that, you know what, hey, there's a bank heist happening. You know, okay, we're going to see the main character. Oh, is he there? No. Oh, that guy just died.
When's Batman going to show up to save the day?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing. And then just like the musical, like depth as soon as he just takes off his mask and just starts licking his lips. Oh, man. Crazy.
Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sets the tone for the Joker as well, straight off the bat. How smart, meticulous, and just carefree he is.
Yes.
And
carefree.
Pure cruel. The smoke grenade in the guy's mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It's psychotic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chills when I saw that. I watched it last night before this podcast. Chills.
The only thing, now this is like a super like, I'm nitpicking this, but the only thing wrong with that entire scene is the very final shot where the bus pulls out and sneaks into the line of other buses. Yeah, there's debris coming off the top of that. There's no way they didn't see that. But anyways, like, we'll let it slide. It's a movie, right?
It's a movie at the end
we're
of the
not gonna nitpick that hard, but no, that sequence is fantastic. You don't know what's happening. You don't know who's who.
They keep on saying, "Oh yeah, the boss, the one who organized this."
Yeah.
Like,
and the fact that he was there the entire time is like just like wow. It's like
taking them out one by one, all his accomplices,
just eliminating them.
Oh, more money for me. More money for me.
Yeah,
it's
like you said. It honestly just puts like into perspective the Joker. And you see that throughout the whole movie, how planning he is. He plans everything 20 steps ahead, even more sometimes. Like, honestly, I have this in here as probably like, I was watching it and I was really taking down notes and really looking into like, okay, when is the Joker really like planning things ahead? And honestly, I have to find this part. It was pretty much around the middle of the movie, pretty much all the way to the end of the movie. He planned everything. It's like from literally right. Okay. I have it right over here. From the moment that the Joker shot a bullet into like a random room and then had like two people killed or two detectives killed that had their names that would meet up with Harvey and Dent.
Yeah.
And then like he knew from that moment on that Batman was going to come in, scan the room, scan the bullet for fingerprints, go to that person's apartment, find the people, like the policeman tied up, open the curtain. The police were going to shoot at him to get him away from like
just
actually
enough time
going
for him
in
to take his shot.
Exactly. And then knowing that, I mean, it was I'm pretty sure he mentioned that he wasn't sure if Commissioner Gordon was killed or not. He said he had a theory or something like that. I think he said that somewhere in the movie. But it's like everything was planned almost all the way to the end. It was crazy. Like you could just go step by step. It was so good. I was just thinking, pausing and being like, wait, that was planned.
Yeah.
Wait,
he knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, it was so good. Oh, man.
I don't even know how you even go to be like, yeah, I know Batman's going to be in that window. That cop is going to shoot at that exact moment. It's the planning it takes. Like, my God, it just shows just how psychotic he is.
Of course. But I mean, he also like, he knows people. Right? I think that's what he plays the most. It's not like, he doesn't play on what's going to happen or this is going to fall, so it's going to go that way. He doesn't go based off like physics or something. Yeah, no. He goes based off people's emotions and like, he
knows
really
how to read.
Exactly.
And how to play the person itself.
That's it.
Oh. One thing I find kind of funny though is, I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure at one point he says something like, I don't have a plan. I kind of just sue chaos wherever I go.
Yeah.
But like clearly not. Like, come on. There's no way he's not planning all of this.
Yeah. You guys said it. You nailed it. I wrote down a little segment here just trying to like maybe describe who the Joker is in a sense, sort of like who he is as a character. And we don't actually get a ton of background into him necessarily, but interestingly, it does follow the same sort of suit where he did grow up with an abusive parent. So he talks about his father, you want to know how I got these scars. So talks about that. Interestingly, his mother was the positive figure in that story compared to our one-off Joker movie where she is not. So a bit of a different take there. Whether Nolan decided that's the way he wants to perceive it or if there's more information.
I don't know enough about the actual comic books.
Me neither.
Like which one is real? Because they're two completely different backstories.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure like multiple authors have given different perspectives on it. And whichever one you prefer is which one. There's no
Oh,
necessary definitive response to it.
no, I don't think so. It's the character, and you can kind of do what you want with him, right? At the end of the day, like you have your vision of what he is, of how he came to be, and you just put it on the screen and let people debate.
I think I heard from a couple of people talking when I was talking about the Joker with them that something that is just so not loving, but something so interesting about the Joker is that you don't know anything about him, right? And like when you see the Joker movie that that we talked about in our first podcast, we definitely see a background, and it's very appreciative because you kind of get to know who he is. You feel bad for him, right? But in this movie, you just kind of don't know who he is. It's that scary suspense that just creates the Joker and makes the Joker who he is.
Yeah, saying less is more
Yeah.
in this case, and I think not diving into it is important because again, it isn't even his movie. So I mean, although he nailed it, I mean, we're talking about him over Bale, who we should be talking about as well.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
So I wanted to just give a quick rundown of all the actors and actresses who appeared in this movie.
I was gonna do the same
Obviously,
thing.
starting with Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Heath Ledger, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Aaron Eckhart, who I love, and if you have seen Sully, I think he's fantastic in that.
Great and solid.
Great.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman, Morgan Freeman, David. Give me a second to pronounce. Yeah, see,
I
Will's
have it
shaking
right
his
here,
head,
yep.
and he gets it. David Datsmak. Freaking.
I always say Das Malkian.
I like that.
No clue if it's right.
You know what? Let's
That's
go with
how
that.
I've been saying
Let's go
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not gonna put
I
myself
honestly had
out
no
there.
idea he was in it until I watched it and I saw him and I was like, no way.
Yeah,
Like seeing every role he's done now, especially
Yep.
in the DC universe as well.
yeah.
It's like, oh,
yeah,
he was
yeah.
one of the
He's,
Joker's thugs in 2008. Whoa, like it's really cool.
Yes. So yeah, he's the one of the escaped convicts. He's I can't remember the name they gave him. They did give him a name.
Well, in the ambulance,
Yeah.
Harvey Dent is like grilling him, and on the name tag it says
Yeah.
Rachel on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think there's a scene after where he's flipping the coin and then Batman shows up and
grabs
he's
the
like,
coin
"Are you
from
gonna like, put his life up to chance or whatever?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "Not exactly," which
Yeah.
is, and then obviously Cillian Murphy's in it at very, very, very briefly at the very, very beginning.
nice
But of
little-
course, I'm going to mention
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, of course.
Because all of these actors have worked with Nolan, and some of them continue to work with Nolan, as we know. So it's he's really picked a great cast, and again, Heath Ledger and Christian Bale, for that matter, to stand out. Of course, it's easier for Bale because he is Batman, but you still have to do a good job.
Yeah.
You're coming off of Keaton, right? So that was the last one
yep.
before, who is highly regarded as Batman. To stand out amongst all these other actors is an incredible achievement.
I always say Christian Bale is like always the best part of any movie he's in,
Yeah.
except for this one.
Except for this one?
Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Is,
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, Christian
Yeah.
Bale is always
Is-
the best actor
yes, I see what you
in
mean.
every movie he's in, but this
Yep.
one, Heath Ledger is just above him somehow because Christian Bale's a legend as well. But
Yeah.
don't know how he managed to do it. But fair play.
I found Michael Caine was definitely an amazing portion of this movie as
Oh.
well.
Yeah.
I would put him top 3 for this movie.
For this
this
movie?
For this movie, I would put Heath, probably Bale, and then Caine right
He's
after.
I would agree.
yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So for the cast here, what I had written in my notes is that it's the best casted Batman movie, in my opinion.
I mean-
Other than Danny DeVito as the Penguin in
Yeah,
1992,
okay,
that is
fair.
a great casting.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just phenomenal, man. Like every actor just fits every role perfectly.
I don't understand how Nolan is capable of grabbing all these people into one movie. I guess he just says, this is the project. It's very Wes Anderson style in a sense. He's just like, this is the movie. This is the story. If you like it,
You're in.
come on. Don't care about necessarily the pay. I'm sure they all got paid well.
Most likely,
But, it's a Nolan project.
When Nolan calls,
you answer.
Actually, does he call? Or
No,
he writes.
does he
sends letters or
he
something.
sends a letter or something, yeah.
Did you hear about Matt Damon? He literally said he was taking a break from making movies, and then Nolan sent him a mail or sent him a message about being an Oppenheimer. He was
That's
like,
right.
you know what?
Did
Maybe
he,
I'll stop my break.
Didn't he bring it to him? I could have
think-
sworn there was an interview where Damon was
Yeah.
like, yeah, he brought it to me. I took my time to read it, and he was still there. I read it, And then I said yes.
All 180 pages of it or something.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I heard. I don't know how true that is, but I mean, yeah, it's.
He's one of those directors where if he wants you, you have to say yes. You'd be kind of stupid not to.
How could you not? Yeah.
You know it's going to be a top tier movie. Like you said, even his duds aren't really duds. They're still great movies to watch.
100%. They're still worth something. They bring some value to your knowledge of film and your ability to just,
the way he does things. It's
fantastic. Great transition, Will. I have a whole segment about Christopher Nolan's rhythm to his movies because they're all the same, always. Right. I anybody who isn't aware, we have our letterboxes up on our socials. So if you ever want to take a look at our previous watched movies and just take a look at what we're into and how we score things, you can take a look there. On my letterbox, if you look at the past month and a bit, I watched almost every single one of Nolan's movies. The only one that I haven't seen is The Following, and
I haven't seen that one.
There's one more that I can't think of.
I haven't seen Insomnia either.
I saw that. That's the last one I watched, actually. That's other than this one that we're talking about.
Those are the ones I'm missing.
But so after watching all those, I finally think I got sort of his rhythm, and I think you guys will get this immediately as well. Every single movie has a very well thought out opening act, obviously. This one is particularly great from The Dark Knight. Great job. Nails every bit of grasping the person's attention. Yeah. Even in Batman Begins as well, same concept. I'm trying to think of it for a second here. It's been a couple months since I've seen it.
I'm pretty sure it was
him falling, right? Falling, sorry, into the well. Was that early?
I think that was a bit later on. Wasn't it him like fighting in a random prison?
It's with Ra's al Ghul. Yeah,
is that really the opening scene?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, in the mountains in the snow.
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul comes into him in the prison and says like, "Hey, like, what are you doing? You're so far from home."
He's training in prison.
Yeah,
that's how it starts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Which is very iconic too, because you're like, what is this guy doing here?
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I completely blanked. I guess I thought that the sequence where he falls and his father comes to help him.
That's Dark Knight Rises.
I'm mixing up all these different movies. I could have sworn there was a piece in there.
No, because he falls in the well in the first one.
He does.
Pretty much, and then that's where he gets his like fear from bats.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe his father doesn't come and help him. Maybe that's Rises. That shows up in Rises, but he does fall in the well. Like I'm 99% sure he does.
Yes.
Maybe I'm just confusing them too, because the prison in Dark Knight Rises kind of like a well, and Bane does fall down the wall.
Yeah. Regardless. He nails every single opening act with a great way of grasping the audience, and it's always followed. His rhythm is always something fast paced, then it slows down. You go to dialogue, you go to something, then you pick it up again, and then drops. And it's the same format throughout the entire movie. But I find something really interesting is that I'd say towards the final act, there's always a philosophical sequence, is what I would call it. So for The Dark Knight, it's this battle between him having to choose between Dent and Rachel. He has to decide where he wants to go, who he wants to save. And that whole sequence after, you get this nice voiceover from Maggie Gyllenhaal, where she talks over and reads the letter that he doesn't know, and talks about how she's going to choose Dent and everything like that. And that's fantastic. I love that sequence.
Amazing.
And it follows the same thing. Oppenheimer.
There it is.
You get your bomb sequence followed by the I called it the presentation, but the sort of
the speech.
The speech.
We did it.
We did it. Yeah. Yes. So followed by that, his realization that he can't believe what just occurred. So those are that, and then Dark Knight Rises. It's that whole sequence where he recovers from his back being, honestly, he should have been dead, but anyways, his back being crushed, and then he rises out of the pit. So that's also another sort of sequence there. So I find Nolan does that for every single movie, and it's always a good chunk of the movie too. So it's very, like, you'll remember it for sure, which I love. And then it then teeters off again, and he always crushes the endings. I love the ending of Dark Knight. I love the final speech by Gary Oldman. I think he crushed it. It's one of my favorite quotes ever. My favorite quote from that entire sequence is Batman responds and he says, I'm whatever Gotham needs me to be. I love the delivery from that, and just sort of the acting from even the kids there, but between the two of them, it's so good. It's so the rhythm to it is so good, and then the music just kicks in, and you're just like,
the Hans Zimmer score comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that sequence so much. I really do.
You said it's your favorite quote from that sequence. Do you know like your favorite quote from that movie?
Man,
this is an incredibly like quotable movie.
Yeah, there's so many. I love the part where finally we realize that Dent's coin is the value is 0 technically, right? It's not 50-50.
Right.
So he says to Rachel, he says, she's like, you're gonna do this all based off luck when they're transporting him over, and then all mayhem cuts loose. And he says he doesn't. He makes his own luck, which I like that as well. I don't know if you guys have any other ones.
I mean, I don't know, like favorite, because like you said, it's so quotable. But some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah,
by Alfred.
Amazing.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Man. That story. See, like that's one of those quotes that like Michael Caine is does he have a life? He must have a lifetime achievement award.
If he doesn't,
he should be getting one. Like this year.
On,
let's go. Yeah. No, he's done so much for the industry. He delivered that line perfectly, and I don't know if anybody else could have that entire sequence, because it's the entire story behind it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else could have performed it that way.
Nope. I agree with that. For me, honestly, I think it was when the Batman is like interrogating Joker, and then he's like beating him up, and then Joker's like, you have nothing to threaten me with. Yeah. It's like as soon as he gave that line, you can kind of like low key see like a bit of a like hesitation in Batman's face, or Batman's like reaction, like his whole body. He's like about to punch him, and then he doesn't, and then he kind of punches him after.
Yeah.
But it's like that's the moment where the Joker like is the scariest and most dangerous character, I find, because you truly see no matter what Batman does, nothing's gonna go his way.
He's got nothing to lose. He will go the extra mile any day of the week.
Oh man. And when I heard that, I was like, oh man, because there's so many good quotes. Honestly, memorable, honorable mentions, excuse me. Oh, they should let us. I own the place.
Yeah. Oh,
I love it.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah, no, I like just every single line is delivered so well by the actors. Yes, the writing is really well done. The screenplay.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yes, this movie could have been a great, piece to the DC universe, but just the fact that Nolan was able to pull this cast together and they gave their 100%, I think, makes it, what we were saying earlier, one of the greatest movies to be released.
Yep.
You say it could have been a piece of DC. I'm really happy it's not. I'm really happy it's its own standalone thing.
Yeah. Could you imagine Bale showing up and is like, I'm here to fight you, Superman? It's like,
no, it would not have worked at all.
Like, I'm good.
Try introducing him after like a movie like Suicide Squad, the 2016 one.
Oh my God.
I would have been like, no.
No,
fully would have ruined everything.
You can like the way superhero movies have been transitioning in the last couple of years, we're starting to slowly go back, I think, in some sense, towards a more brooding and darker. At least they try, and we get one of those every, I want to say, 4 years or so.
They're trying, yeah.
And we got the Batman, which is
great.
That transition back.
Yeah.
But then what else? And it's okay, like people like this, so we got like Joker, that worked really well. The Batman, great. And then what's next? It's like, come on, like, but I don't know if maybe other characters doesn't work as well. Maybe it's really just.
I mean, I feel like they did an okay job with Spider-Man No Way Home, especially with the Green Goblin. That's Green true. Goblin coming in. They did a pretty good job with Green Goblin. Honestly, I always say like Willem Dafoe is an incredible actor, and he always gives like performance of a lifetime. And I find his performance in that like No Way Home is like comparable to like his performances in almost every single one of his movies. Just incredible. Very broody, like you said, and very like scary. Honestly,
he's terrifying as the Green Goblin.
him and the first Spider-Man there.
Yeah.
Man, I love those Spider-Mans. Tobey Maguire is the Spider-Man.
So remember
I don't care what
the
you
alley
guys say.
scene, the alleyway scene where he's talking to the mask.
Oh, that was so good.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
man.
that's
Like,
just great.
Yeah.
Great
yeah,
performance.
no.
Yeah, I love him so much.
I just wanted to say there is this one part in the movie very close to the beginning that I wanted to mention because I mentioned it a little bit before the podcast that I was telling Alex there's this one part that I think you're going to like that I don't know if you noticed it, but I noticed it. It was pretty much right after the like Batman stops the Batman imitators and stuff like that from like trying to catch Cillian Murphy. Scarecrow, and then like they kind of like pan to another scene of I'm pretty sure it's Commissioner Gordon or something like that, and they kind of have like a little poster in the back that says like possible what's it called, like possible people that it could be like Batman, and then they have I think it's like a Yeti, I think
It's
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yes, I
the
remember
classic
this.
Bigfoot
they have
picture.
Bigfoot, and then Elvis is
Yes,
there too.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
There's, it's really funny you say that because there's a lot of movies that anytime there's a conspiracy that they don't want to say, but they want to display it somehow. Yeti, Elvis.
The other one in this scene is Lincoln, I'm pretty sure.
Lincoln,
yeah.
So it's funny you bring that up because it seems like something that just transcends all movies. They're always the ones to be picked for conspiracies because people
good,
are
Yeah. I mean, I saw that and I was like, oh, pause, write a note, mention it because Alex loves Elvis.
Yes. We'll hopefully one day we'll get around to watching the movie. That's a long movie. And speaking of long movies, I wasn't under the impression that this movie was 2.5 hours. I didn't know that. Honestly, every time I watch it, I don't even think about what time it is. I don't think about how much time I have. I just put it on and just watch without thinking about it.
I knew it was at least 2 hours. Like I've seen it a couple of times now, so I knew. But in my head, it was like, okay, maybe 2 hours. And when I clicked play and I saw like 2:32 or whatever, I was like, really? It's this long? I've never felt the time in that movie. Like it just goes by so fast. I don't know if it's the score or just the incredible screenplay, but there's something about it. The pacing is just nonstop.
Fantastic.
Go.
I find because we had a conversation again about the time a movie should be and how much people you're gonna reach with the kind of length of the movie, but this movie did it perfectly. I mean, I don't know the exact box office numbers. Alex is gonna get down to it in a little bit.
I will.
But pretty much I do know for 2 hours 30. Usually some people don't like that length of a movie. Especially for superhero movies, they like to keep them nice and short, sweet, 2 hours or a bit less.
Reach a younger audience with that as
Exactly.
well.
So 2 hours 30 for a superhero movie. And it did. I'm pretty sure it did amazingly well box office. I don't know. Like I said, Alex is gonna get down to it in a bit. But it's really, really good. It goes so fast.
A great observation because during that period we had Iron Man and we had these other superhero movies. Their first of those characters coming out. And that's when Marvel was really starting to we can make individual titles based off of these characters, and they started to do that. And those movies were short. They were 2 hours. About.
Yeah.
So
pretty sure the first time it was 158, 159 on the dot.
So they didn't push it, and they definitely could have. There's enough source material there.
Yes.
And it's interesting that Nolan said, no, you know what? 2.5 hours. And it falls very much within his range. I didn't realize how much of Nolan's movies just surpassed the 2 hour mark. I think almost all of them passed 2 hours. Yeah. So they I don't know the exact average amount of time, but I think from what I've seen from quick research, 220 to 3 hours. That's his range. It's insane.
I think probably the only movie that doesn't hit the 2 hour mark is probably The Following, his first movie.
Yeah, his first one.
That's my only
we'll
assumption.
We'll give him a little bit of slack
that's
there.
a short film.
Yeah. Even his short film is it's a full length feature. I don't know how he does it. To be able to just sit down and we were saying, how does he contact people? He doesn't use a smartphone. He does use a computer. He's talked about it, but he doesn't use it like most of us do these days with constantly scrolling through stuff and just always up to date. He doesn't do that. It
wouldn't even surprise me if he doesn't send emails. I would not be surprised if I learned that one day.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either. I'm sure he probably does some sort of
For sure.
way because
Yeah.
listen, it's the world of technology. You sort of have to
You
in a
have to.
sense.
Yeah.
But he said that for current events, he reads the newspaper, and then his phone is probably just some like flip phone, man. Like I hear all these
Nokia
things.
brick.
Yeah, seriously, just like I hear all these things, I just think like, should I do that? Like this guy's a genius.
Yeah,
like this
yeah,
is
it is.
awesome. Like why
He's
don't
not
I do
rotting
this?
his brain at all.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic, but I understand. Like for most people in this day and age, it's not. For him, it's he lives comfortably. He's made a lot of money, and when people want to give him work, they come to him. He doesn't go to them necessarily, and that's the luxury of his scenario. So it doesn't work for everybody, right?
Yeah.
At this point, he has such a team surrounding him. If someone wants to get in contact with him, they'll get in contact with one of his assistants,
Absolutely.
and they'll send a message along, and then he'll send you a letter back by the mail or something.
Oh yeah, I mean he has his own production studio and everything, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
that's right. Yeah,
What's it called? Stud copy or something?
Sin copy. Yeah.
copy,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
I wanted to mention something because I did find that I'm pretty sure Christopher Nolan and I don't remember the name. I think it's either Stanley Kubrick or Steven Spielberg. Like I'm pretty sure all three of them, or maybe it's just Christopher Nolan, Stanley Kubrick, have the most movies in the top 250, something like that, right?
I think now with Oppenheimer, he is the one with the most.
He is the one with the most.
Again,
Ooh.
That would
talking
make
about social
sense.
media running your
I'm
brain.
pretty
I
sure-
saw that on social media, so take it with a grain of salt. I think he's at like 7 now.
I think he might be at 8 with Oppenheimer because I'm pretty sure he was at 7. You know what? He is at 8 because I have the list over here. So
Okay.
Batman Begins, Inception, Interstellar, Memento, The Dark Knight Rises, The Prestige, and now Oppenheimer. So that's 8 in the top 250
And
according to
how many does
IMDb,
he have?
right?
He has like 10 now.
He's got 12 movies.
12 movies.
So 8 out of his 12.
12's a lot.
Yeah.
And to have those all be considered in the top, like that's insane. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I think you guys are all gonna agree with me here, but he should be winning Best Director this year. He should,
but we haven't seen
But
Killers
we
of the
I
Flower
was
Moon
gonna
yet.
say, we'll talk
only
about it
thing.
again in like 3 weeks to a month when
Yeah.
we see
the
that.
only movie
because-
that can rival it at this point in time.
Yeah.
Like there have been some phenomenal movies we talked about in past episodes. This summer has been phenomenal for the film industry, but Oppenheimer stands alone in terms of just pure directing masterpiece. But again, we don't know just yet. Maybe a little early to call, but
the Oscars, what we can say with, I want to say like almost 100% certainty, the Oscars will be Nolan versus Scorsese, Killers versus Oppenheimer,
and then just like Barbie right in the middle of it.
Barbie for production design,
Yeah.
Barbie for maybe costume.
Barbie costume. Yeah, I
mean,
production design. Yes,
They
like 100%.
turned all the Barbie actual outfits into real clothes.
I'll give it to
so
them.
like,
I mean, yeah, you could say that, but like, okay, here we go. Back to when Elvis was nominated for it,
boy.
it didn't win it, and it did the exact same thing. It recreated all
who
the.
won best costume?
I think
do you
it was
remember?
probably Everything Everywhere as always, but
Oh.
I think it was actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know. I'm gonna
No,
look it up.
you're right. To be fair though, I think that's valid. Yes, Elvis had some crazy costume, but
They didn't use. There were more. The reason I say that is because if you do a bit of research behind the movie and you look at the production behind it, there were more stuff that weren't used in the movie. So I don't know if the Oscars necessarily take that into account. But there was more, and they really did like nail it. Like if you looked side by side comparisons between the two, you really wouldn't be able to tell a difference. And but yes, Barbie
Crazy accurate.
should absolutely win for that. Yeah, they did a fantastic
I would
job.
think so.
Something I'm pretty sure because there's this thing that I've heard that the Oscars have that it's like you have to hit like a diversity thing.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Oppenheimer didn't hit it, but because it's a biopic, I don't know if it falls into the same like rules.
Well, it's true.
That's interesting.
Because if it falls under the same rules as every other film, I don't think it'll be able to get any single Oscar, which would be pretty like messed up. Which would be really messed up.
I'm pretty sure I talked about it with you, Alex. Like this is a while ago. We watched that after like the second or third time that we saw it. We were like, "There's not that many people of color in this movie."
So
I can think of
There's like
maybe
two or three.
two. Yeah.
according to a Forbes article, there are a couple of requirements that are that were set in 2020. To be eligible for Best Picture, the ceremony's top prize must meet 2 of the 4. Okay. The first, Standard A, which has come under fire. Okay, I don't care. What is it? Either one of the lead or significant supporting characters is from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. Or number 2, at least 30% of the acting ensemble is from at least 2 underrepresented group, women or the LGBTQ community, disabled or deaf people, or people from underrepresented racial groups and ethnic groups.
I don't think so.
So wait. So women and LGBTQ count in that?
Yes.
I don't think so for this movie. Still,
Nope. So far, they haven't hit it.
No.
I agree. Yeah. The other requirements.
Oh no.
Standard B, films must meet one of the 3 criteria, at least 2 creative leads or department heads. So it's not on screen, this one.
Yeah.
Including casting, director, cinematographer, composer, and more, must be from underrepresented groups. And then it follows the same one as the Standard A. Standard C, the film's production, distribution, and financing companies offer paid internship and apprenticeships and training opportunities for people from underrepresented groups. And Standard D, which is the last one, the film studio must have multiple senior executives from underrepresented groups and in its marketing, publicity, or distribution teams. So it doesn't fall necessarily on
the actual cast.
On the cast itself, which I understand these rules in a sense, like not in a sense, it makes sense. There are a lot of underrepresented groups. I guess Scorsese's whole movie's gonna crush those 2 categories very easily. Yeah. So marks. No worries for him. But
it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
We'll
see when it comes by. I mean,
we'll talk about it more.
About it. Yeah.
It's just I find sometimes with these is that the line between like how you can tell whether somebody is an underrepresented or they are LGBTQ, like it seems intrusive and seems rude to the people who are actually just putting the work on out there. It's like that's not who they are. They're artists. They make the work that they do, and they're not just there because of whatever they identify. And I think that's just Anyways, they're more than that. That's what I'm just saying. Anyways.
Yeah. I just wanted to head right back over to The Dark Knight.
Yes.
I had, I pretty much had a kind of like put yourself in their shoes. I had 2 kind of little questions on that. So you guys remember when Alfred burns Rachel's letter?
Yeah.
Right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Was it the right move for Alfred to burn the letter? Or would you have burned the letter yourselves?
Hitting us with some moral questions here.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's
yes and no.
Yeah, like it. I see why he did it. Was it the right thing to do? No, but it was in terms of when he did it, right? That's what I think is really important to.
You're saying, is it the right move? No. At the time, given the circumstances, maybe.
Yes, in a sense, right? Because it was right after he lost her, and he still needed to be Batman. Like he still needed to be there for the city, and like we see in Dark Knight Rises that like once he disappears for a while, it's sort of like mayhem, and like
full
just
chaos.
His pure like the thought of him being out, which is very well represented in the Batman. That the opening part to that does a fantastic job showing just a pure fear that Batman invokes in the people of Gotham. I think. Yeah, I honestly just think like, it was the right thing to do at the time, but I guess
it's definitely not the right thing to do, right? Because it's something he should be able to read at one point in his life.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Does he? He doesn't ever figure it out, right? Does he? I can't remember.
In The Dark Knight Rises, the reason I ask it because it's very it's useful for The Dark Knight Rises because when you're watching it, Alfred's kind of trying to keep him and tell him don't fight Bane. Bane is like a completely different person,
right?
That you've never experienced before. And then he's trying to tell him like, hey, stop and give up being the Batman, And Christian Bale, Bruce Wayne, says like, oh no, like like I had a way out. It was with Rachel, and like it went away. And then like Alfred's like, well, what if there was a way? Like what if Rachel wrote a letter that said that she didn't want to be with you. There was no way out, like just quit being Batman. Okay, it's like, it's an iffy question because like obviously we know that was like the kind of things that they brought up in the third movie.
Yeah.
But like I just wanted to get your take.
I didn't fully remember that part from Dark Knight Rises, so it's like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one, man.
It's no, that's a phenomenal question.
Yeah.
Speaking of questions, it's quiz time.
Let's go.
So we're a little bit over the halfway point. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or follow our Spotify. Give it 5 stars if you can. We'd very much appreciate that. So for today's quiz, we are going to be doing 2 sections of this quiz. We're going to talk about the Joker performance, and we're going to talk about the box office. So let's start with the box office here because we were hinting at it a little bit earlier.
Yep.
So the box office, let's take a look. So does anybody know just so anybody knows, I will be keeping tally of between Will and Alvaro's answers, and I will give them each points, and we'll keep you guys updated on their scores throughout the episodes. So budget.
Oh boy. Okay. 2008
superhero movie, second Batman film of Nolan's.
Yep.
I'm going for 120 mil.
I'll go 80.
Mil?
Yes, million. Yes. No, $80,000. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Just because I don't know 2008. Yes, it's like the start of the superhero boom,
That's
right?
true.
Right
Yeah.
after the Spider-Mans and the X-Men's.
Yeah.
But I don't think Hollywood was quite there yet with the.
I'm going more for just Nolan.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'll stick to 80.
All right. So the reported budget is 180 million.
Wow. That's a lot.
Alvaro was closer.
Wow.
And yeah, so when you said 80, I was like, do you mean 180 or just 80? Because like that's
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty high up there. He did a good job. So
that's up to par with like big budget movies nowadays. It's like 200,
no,
250.
100%.
I mean, there's a huge amount of explosions in the movie. There's a huge amount of like the hospital was an actual explosion. The truck was like fully flipped in the middle of the road.
Absolutely.
It was like a huge bunch of like actual practical effects. I mean, that's Nolan, right?
Yep.
But that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, that is way more than I ever would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so how much money did they make? What was the gross revenue for this?
I'll let you go first this time, Will.
You're talking box office.
I'm just talking everything.
Okay. It is one of the best movies ever made. Top 3 IMDb. I'm gonna go for 1.2 bill.
All right.
That's a really good guess. I was actually gonna say that. I'm gonna go 1.4.
That was my second guess.
It's like it definitely passed 1 bill. It has to have. It's like such a prevalent movie.
So
1.3.
1.2, 1.4.
Yeah.
All right. Will got the point. It sits at 1.06.
Oh, damn.
So it passed the billion.
So it passed a billion.
There you go.
So yeah, you were 100% right. You both were on it. Of course, it did. It did an unbelievable job. For one of the next questions, I wanted to ask you, on the opening weekend, so we know it made $1 billion. How much did it make on opening weekend?
Ooh.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can I know what else was out at the time?
Perfect, because I
question.
have
That's a
all
good
that
question.
information.
I knew you had it, which is why I asked.
So, leading up to it, you had Hancock that came out.
Okay.
If anybody remembers that, did very well. It was well perceived. Does anybody just for fun want to guess how much that actually made? Grossed probably more than you think it did.
Okay, I was going to say 400, but if it's more...
I was actually gonna think 400 is a good amount. I mean, maybe 600.
Yeah,
between 400 and 600.
Yeah. So it did 629.
Okay.
Did very well. It did very, very well. And
did not expect that, but it is Will Smith.
Yeah. Exactly.
Fair.
And so we had Hellboy 2, which came out as well. Did 168 million grossing. Okay. And then we had Journey to the Center of the Earth, which is always gonna do well.
That's the Brandon Fraser one, right?
Yes, that's the Brandon Fraser one.
The first one. Yeah.
The first one.
That is the first one,
okay.
That was July 11th. And then, this is fantastic. I love we're talking about this. The other movie that came out the same day as The Dark Knight was our lovely Mamma Mia. shared a
Whoa.
release date.
Wow.
Yes, and in my notes I wrote here, called it the Barbenheimer Senior, because that's
Wow.
what it is.
Look at that.
Not only did Nolan have to do it once, but he had to do it twice
Wow.
on release day. Yes. So Mamma Mia grossed 609 million, and it didn't open very well. It only opened at 27 million on the same day. So there's your hint as to how well the Dark Knight
We're guessing opening weekend.
open weekend.
Your turn to go first.
Wait, was it? Is it? Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with 300. Okay, you know what? Whatever. I already said it. 300.
No.
300. It's really high. Damn it.
That's,
Yeah.
We'll see.
I will go with 95.
So Will is closer.
Okay.
He said 95. It's 158
Ooh.
million. If you just dropped your number a little bit, I would have to do some math to figure out who was
Yeah.
closer. But yeah, so
158. Wow.
That's really good.
158. Yeah, it did really well
Yeah.
compared to all the other movies that month. It crushed at the box office. It did really well for advertising. I do remember seeing advertisements for this, very clearly, especially that one with Heath Ledger, or in character as Joker, behind a foggy glass there, and he just sort of gives like the question mark. Yeah, exactly. All right, the second half of this quiz. So Will is up 2-1 right now in our first ever officiated quiz here. The next one I wanted to ask you guys is, we had a lot of Joker performances over the last couple of years. I have here the number of on-screen minutes each Joker has performed.
No.
And so
Okay.
we have Heath Ledger's, we have Jared Leto, fantastic,
Nice.
Cesar Romero, and Jack Nicholson.
Cesar Romero, that's like the OG,
That's the
right?
OG one, which honestly is one of my favorite performances, but it's a very different one. I just love it because it's very
haven't
fun
seen
and
it.
and
You know, I haven't
childish.
seen it.
Yeah.
It's from the very childish versions of Batman, cartoon like. If you need a reminder of who the names are, I'm sure you guys know who all the Jokers are. So to get the question right, I'm just going to ask you for who had the most.
Who had the most
Screen time? Because I will say this, it's not quite as simple as you might think it is.
Question.
Yes.
Are we allowed to have the same answer for this one? And we both get a point.
Sure.
technically.
Whatever.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like for this one, there's not many.
If you 100%, yeah.
Okay. It's your turn to go first.
Not Leto.
He's gonna base it off of yours and just steal your answer. He's gonna be wrong.
No, I feel like he already has his name in mind.
I do.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go Nicholson.
That was my exact same guess. I'm not even joking. Yeah, it was Jack Nicholson.
All right, and the answer is it's Jack Nicholson. Does anybody know the amount of time?
That I have no clue.
No.
All right. So the list goes like this: the least amount of on-time screen time could. Okay. Let me rephrase this. I put an honorable mention. If anybody knew who Cameron Monaghan is,
Yep.
phenomenal actor
From Gotham, the TV show there.
From Gotham.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's
yeah.
not officially the Joker, but it's a squad of Joker-like characters in the
Right.
show.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing him appear. I was watching the show very thoroughly when it came out. I stopped after the fourth season. It really didn't continue well.
Yeah.
That's another one where the casting for the Penguin's really good, I think.
That's true. You're right.
I saw the first couple episodes. Really good.
But so him in that, he did 20 episodes. I think he legitimately did a phenomenal job.
Yeah,
So if
he's
anybody's
great.
never seen, just look up a little montage or whatever of his performance. He did fantastic.
Yeah.
So yes, I put him as an honorable mention, but I don't know the exact minutes. So the least is Jared Leto, 8 minutes of
Makes
screen
sense.
time.
I didn't know it was that low. I knew it was
It's
low.
really, really low.
Good.
And
Sorry.
the next lowest is Cesar Romero. It's a short movie, to be fair, and it makes sense. But I still think he's considered one of the legendary performers for Joker.
Yeah.
And then Heath Ledger is at 26 minutes, and Nicholson comes in at 32 minutes, which makes sense if you watch the movie. He is in quite a bit
He's
of
a
it.
big part.
And one of my last honorable mentions for this role is Mark Hamill. I don't know how much screen time he's had, but he's played Joker for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's I love his laugh is really good in that. We didn't mention in the Joker episode there a couple weeks ago. But his laugh is really good. It's very like cartoonish villain like. He nails it. I love that. So for our first officiated quiz and not our last one, Will technically won it 4-3. So we'll give him the point for this entire quiz, and we'll see if next week for Inglourious Bastards he can somehow come up with the right answers. But we'll see. I think that one will be a little bit trickier. So I'll try to mix it up next time. We'll give ourselves a little bit of box office knowledge, maybe a little bit of director knowledge as well. It can tell whether you've done your research or whether you haven't researched at all. So it'll be an interesting one.
He's just calling us out right now.
I am. Yeah, no, I only say that. It's just because for anybody who's listening, we all do our notes and we prepare for these movies as best as we can with the time that we have. We all do this for passion and we're having a lot of fun doing it. But I wrote 5 pages of notes unknowingly. Everyone else wrote what, like a page?
A page and a bit.
A page and 3 lines.
There you go. So I accidentally just went a bit too much.
To be fair though, normally so far I've had like 2 to 3 pages for every podcast we've done, but this one I was watching the movie first hour. I was taking notes. And then at one point I just completely stopped. I was just immersed, just watching it.
Yeah.
Then I finished it and I was like, oh right, notes.
Yeah. Last 30 minutes I have no notes for the movie.
Yeah, no.
Nothing.
I was just watching, having fun. And
yeah, it's one of those movies that you just stop what you're doing and just watch the entire thing.
You're immersed
without thinking about it. It's a cinema. The cinematography is great as well.
Oh my god!
There are many scenes in it that I would say like I was like I don't know about that decision. There's maybe like the only one I could say like I kind of was like I don't know about that one is one of the alley scenes there. The one where he is indeed not threatening, but yeah, I guess he's threatening him with death. The convict, the flip the coin,
Okay.
So that scene, I was kind of like, that's not as great as the other scenes, but it works for the context.
Yeah.
But I love Nolan's visions and whoever else he has on his team. I feel ashamed not to know more about his team, considering I've watched so many of his movies. I think he's got a great crew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the cinematographer for this one is Wally Feister.
Yeah.
Which
that sounds familiar. It sounds like he's probably worked with him previously.
Yeah, so Memento, the whole Dark Knight trilogy, and Inception.
Yeah.
The one I know of, which he works with a lot, is Hoyt van Hoytema.
Yeah.
That's
amazing.
Like his guy from what
yes. I found like cinematography amazing, great. One moment that really like I saw it and I was like, damn, that's like, I want to take a picture of that, put it like as a poster kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's right after the bomb went off on Harvey Dent and Maggie, right? Her name? Wait, Maggie?
That's
Rachel.
the actress.
Yeah,
Rachel.
yeah, okay. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So that's right after the bomb went off on there, and then you just see Batman standing on the rubble in the warehouse. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
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 Classic,
100%.
I just want to take that picture, put it on a poster or something. It's just so nice.
That's one of the nicest shots that you'll see. Yeah. I think most of Nolan's work usually has like that one shot where you're like, damn, that's really, really nice. And like, you know, the iconic low angled wide shot there with your one character, whichever it is. So we had that immediately into Dark Knight with your very quick shot of Heath Ledger there before he enters into the car and they go to the bank. So
holding
you have
the
that
mask on his hand.
Yep. Yeah. So there's your iconic shot. It's in every single one of Nolan's movies. It's in Dunkirk when
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, thank you. Got it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And in I'm gonna say it again, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
With him watching the bomb being raised up to the tower.
Yeah.
So yeah, his you could call Will. You were saying earlier to me that you think that this movie's simple, in a sense.
In a way, it's not super groundbreaking. It's stuff that's always obviously it's already been done. Like I don't know. To me, this movie is mostly just screenplay. The screenplay is just out of this world, up there with some of my favorites like Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
The filmmaking itself is obviously impressive
Yeah.
and super large scale, but nothing immensely groundbreaking in my opinion. I didn't write down any like specific examples. Like I said, I was just watching because it's phenomenal still. But I don't know. Compared to some of the stuff he's done in like Interstellar, Inception, you mentioned Tenet earlier. Tenet is a weird one to talk about because the whole going backwards in time and everything.
Yeah.
This one seems like a bit more of a simple film for Nolan, as a Nolan standard.
Okay, yeah.
I guess that's what I should have said earlier. For a Nolan standard, maybe a bit simpler than some of his others.
I get what you mean, but then like I'm thinking of also movies that kind of like Insomnia, Memento, like The Following, even like the first Batman, or even the third Batman is probably a bit more of a stretch in terms of stuff that they did compared to this one, I would say.
Yeah.
But like I feel like for a lot of his movies, there's a lot of stuff that he really just goes very basic because he just doesn't. He does mostly practical effects, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like for this movie, he did better in standing out than a couple of his other films, like I said, like Memento, The Following, Insomnia, stuff like that. But yes, to his standards of his like more like known films, 100% yes. Yeah.
That's what I should have mentioned earlier when I was talking to you. It's not a simple film. Nolan standard, maybe a bit simple.
Okay.
But Nolan standard is way up here compared to most directors, right? So
right now,
Yeah.
It's pretty high.
He's gonna be remembered for his work. Absolutely.
Something I wanted to mention, because I mean we're saying he's very high up. I mean, yes, this movie did come out in 2008, but I found this one scene with the CGI. It's very, very minimal, but I saw it and I was kind of like, hey, that's CGI right there. It's very, very noticeable. I don't know if you guys noticed it too, or it's the same scene that I'm talking about, but it's when he's in China and he's like about to glide into Lau's office and he's like jumping off. It just looks like he's like grabbed, cut, grab, cut. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
I saw
now that you
yeah.
mention it, like
It was. I saw it and I was like, oh, nice. Okay, so he's green screened right now. Okay, he's green. But like the whole rest of the movie, yes, maybe there's a couple scenes where you hardly notice it. And you're like, okay, that's probably green screen.
Yeah.
But like you're thinking that's probably green screen, you know. But for that scene, I was seeing it and I was like, that's a green screen, 100% right there.
I mean, it's really hard to make a movie like this with literally zero CGI. It's
oh my god,
that would be almost impossible. Although in Batman Begins, the entire last sequence is in a giant warehouse and a giant plane locker there, or whatever you call it. There's a
hangar.
word for it. Hangar. Thank you.
Oh wow.
They built out like multiple different streets inside of it, and they worked within that. So it is doable, but it just depends where he wants to spend his budget for that.
On a massive scale. Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, this one you definitely see more of. It's New York, but it's Gotham. But you see more of that in this than you do in the first Batman. So he's certainly changed his sort of direction. I think maybe he gave up on necessarily recreating a Gotham-like city in the sense of like visually, and rather just do it through character development and just in the environment of the people.
But then he brings that back in Dark Knight Rises, where Gotham, the city, the chaos, the crime that's happening all the time is like at the forefront of this one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But even the wide shots of like the overhead of like Gotham are like, it's not Reeves' vision. It's not comic book. It's very just that could easily be this city. And usually it's New York, right? So that's fine because it doesn't necessarily matter for this type of Batman.
Yep, understandable. I 100% agree with you.
I'm just looking at the filming locations for this one because I'm actually kind of curious now that you mention it.
I'm curious too. He seems like a guy who usually just films on location. Like, I don't think
that makes sense. Probably, I mean, maybe they filmed a couple stuff in Toronto. Would make sense.
This one was Chicago, LA, and then a bit of London and Hong Kong, obviously.
Yeah, okay.
That one scene.
I see that.
For like New York scenes, I see a lot of people go to like Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto, here. Just so everybody knows, seriously, let's just doxed ourselves, but why not? We are Canadian, if anybody was curious, and we're from Montreal. If anybody cares that much, hopefully that doesn't make you want to stop listening. But Montreal is a hub for filmmaking. A lot of different movies have been filmed here over the past years. One of the more recent ones that I can think of is, oh man, I'm blanking. What's it called?
Any
no,
actors?
I'm blanking completely. Forget it. It's past. There was one movie in the past year or so that was filmed here, and I remember seeing a shot that just like, it was so obvious that it was in the city, and it was funny and felt like home, but it was very odd.
Well, because there was one shot in this where I paused and I looked at it and I was like, that kind of looks like downtown Montreal. It's when the mayor's giving his speech there where the Joker like is a part of the cop line.
Okay. Yeah.
There's like when all the chaos is happening, there's a shot of a beige building. I pictured it perfectly.
Right.
I paused and I was like, I'm pretty sure I know where that is, but
That's right. Yeah.
clearly not. I don't know. It just jumped out to me. Like I walk downtown multiple times a week, so I was like, I know that place.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a question here. As I said earlier, when I first watched this movie, everybody wanted to do the Heath Ledger Joker impression, and there's still people doing it because he is considered the definitive Joker. Let's talk about Batman a little bit here. It is a Batman movie.
Yeah.
Is Christian Bale the Batman to be remembered? Is he if someone were to come to him and be like, I'm going to impersonate Batman, and then they're like, where is she? You know? So like,
not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
So like that, like, is Bale, because Bale's voice, if you guys watched Batman Begins recently, or if you can remember it, his voice in the first one to the second one, he changed it completely.
Really?
Yeah, it was very different. He did much better in the second one, like significantly better. Like,
Can't say I
please
remember.
go
Yeah, I don't
look it
remember
up,
either.
watch
Yeah,
it, because it's very, very different, and it's shocking almost.
Is he the Batman? He's my Batman.
Okay, fair.
Is he the Batman? Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
Yeah,
I
fair.
completely disregard George Clooney. No hate.
fair. I think he
but-
disregards it too, actually.
Yeah,
So I
he
think we're
probably
good.
wants to forget that period as well.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson is way too early.
Yeah, it's fair.
Ben Affleck, nope.
Yeah, it's
I
not
wouldn't
bad.
give it to Affleck at
No.
all. Or Clooney. I feel like Affleck and Clooney are kind of out
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, okay.
You know, my Batman. If you want to say the Batman, like, oh, what do you think?
I honestly have to put it, for me, it's between, I know it's very early, but I have to put it between Bale and Pattinson.
Pattinson
Because
is phenomenal.
Pattinson
It
did
was
an
great.
amazing job. Incredible. Especially the kind of like the Bruce Wayne aspect of it. I feel like Pattinson nailed it.
Yeah,
Especially
Yeah.
like comic book accuracy. Nailed it so well.
Much darker,
Yeah.
much more depressed Batman in a way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not Playboy millionaire.
Exactly.
Yep.
And like, but I feel like Batman, I feel like Christian Bale did it a bit better. But like,
Yeah.
that's why it's kind of like the same thing as like the Peter Parkers and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so hard to pinpoint who's the iconic one, but like, you're always going to remember all of them. You know?
We're all
Tom Holland.
extreme. Okay. All right. Let's just. All right.
We'll
You know
see
what?
that.
I said mine.
Oh,
You can
boy.
say
Yeah, there
yours.
you go, there you
All
go.
right. But yeah.
Andrew Garfield.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
No, I think you guys are right. It's hard to say which one's the right one. It's whichever one you prefer.
Yeah.
I don't think we should really be bullying each other over what's the right one, what's the wrong one. I mean, Bale does a great job, and you know, it's not just the actor itself, you know, because like you talked about how Pattinson's, you know, it's a comic book accurate. Yeah, his performance is good, but like his performance is good because Reeves made it what it is.
Yeah,
Same for Nolan making what Bale's
Like,
performance decided to be.
Pattinson in the Nolan trilogy wouldn't have worked.
No.
Bale in the Reeves movie
Exactly.
wouldn't have worked at all.
Yes.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So there's no definitive answer. I just want to throw it out there to any viewers who might want to answer that question. Feel free to comment on the YouTube page or under our Spotify podcast. You can respond to the question yourself. I'd love to see what you guys think as well. But I think for most part, it's going to be just biased. So, I mean, my answer's biased. So,
Well, it's like if I talk to my parents about Batman or any Batman movie,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, which one are you talking about? Keaton? And so to them, it's like they think Batman, they think Michael Keaton. I think Batman, I think Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the generation you're talking to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like almost everybody our generation is gonna say Bale. You know,
I would
and
think so.
yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know many people who have really sat down and said, "Hey, you know what? I want to watch a movie from like the 90s, 80s on Batman." When you have this kind of like Batman movies out,
Absolutely,
you know.
yeah.
So it's a bit harder for the newer generations to appreciate a kind of an older Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely get it, but they're all iconic. They're all iconic in their own way.
Sure,
it's just
for sure.
amazing.
I mean, it's Batman. It's
exactly
the most popular superhero, right? Up there with probably Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Up there with
Spider-Man or
Spider-Man.
Batman. It's one of
So,
the two.
like-
Yeah, they're both like neck and neck, I'd say. I think probably Spider-Man takes
I think Spider-Man wins.
just number one, just
Yeah.
because he really is universally like
Yeah.
loved amongst everybody.
Yeah.
But I think Batman's definitely pushing it. I like his what he stands for, his no killing
sure,
rule
sure.
and all that. I think Spider-Man's the same one. No,
Yeah,
Spider-Man's
I'm
saying
pretty sure he has no
killing.
killing.
I can't say I've seen Spider-Man ever kill someone. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not intentionally. I think even Batman's killed people unintentionally.
Oh,
So-
I mean, there's a couple scenes where you see just cars blowing up. And
yeah,
he's
he's like
"Hey,
he
where's
goes.
the
That,
no
I love
killing
that
rule?"
scene, right? He like whips through the mall with like that sick
Yeah.
bat. Like, what do you call it? What is the name of it actually? Does anybody know?
I think it was the first time it like showed up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sick.
But I don't know the name of it.
Love that.
Can't
That's
say I do.
awesome. It was so cool to see it.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
random, just breaks out of the shell of the car and just. Anyway, he's just starts blowing cars up. Those kids, right? There's that scene. The kids are like pretending to blow up the cars. That's
Yeah,
a lovely
yeah.
touch
Yeah,
by
yeah.
Nolan. And then the cars blow up and everything. I'm like, yeah, it's like you could have killed the kids, but anyways.
I don't see anyone crawling out of those cars. So
Yeah,
as far as I'm
fine.
concerned,
All right. One of the other questions I wanted to ask you guys is, we talked a lot about Joker, and I want to, end the podcast here with one more question for you guys, because I think this one is gonna maybe make you guys think a little longer. We know Joaquin Phoenix could be Joker 2 next a year from now or so. We're excited to see it. Who will take over? Other than, I don't know the actor's name in.
Barry Keoghan.
Something like
It
that.
is Barry something.
Yeah, I don't know
Barry
how to pronounce his
something.
last name. It's Keoghan, I think, but
So the next Joker, or at least from what we understand,
it's teased.
teased
Jeez.
in the Reeves universe of Batman. That's the next one.
Yeah.
Next Joker performance. Other than that, anybody who hasn't played it, who do you think will be the next one? And I'm going to answer this immediately because I think someone might have this on their mind. We talked about Willem Dafoe earlier. Willem Dafoe.
That was the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
'cause-
Yeah.
So now I'm going to make it more
Oh my
difficult
God.
on you guys to decide, because honestly, it's not an easy answer. I think, it's one of those roles that you just almost have to be right for. And
almost like born to play it in
born
a way.
to play
like,
it. And I think where other Jokers have failed, like we've had Leto, who is an Oscar winner and should have done a phenomenal job. And I don't necessarily blame him entirely for the performance that was given. The whole
No.
movie was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But I think for the next Joker, you really do have to pick somebody who is either not even known or is a rising star.
I agree.
Defoe is
Timothy
amazing.
Chalamet. No.
Oh boy.
Wait, hold on. I was joking.
No, I was just thinking about like, does he kind of have the look?
I mean,
Yeah,
he
in a
could
way.
do it,
In a
but it
way,
wouldn't be
yeah.
like
It wouldn't,
it wouldn't be
no.
like the
No.
performance now. It'd be very much Cesar Romero type, like
Like when-
comedic,
Yeah.
version of it.
He's gonna go from Willy Wonka to
Yeah.
Joker. I don't think so.
You know what? I think I would have loved to see like younger Jim Carrey. I feel like
Yeah.
a younger Jim Carrey would have been a
See
good
that.
portrayal for Joker. I don't know. Like, I mean, especially his facial reactions, facial
Yeah,
effects that
yeah.
he could do, the smile. I mean, he
Yes.
could kind of like fake the kind of like scar smile with the kind of thing he
Yeah.
does.
I mean,
I think
he could have actually like just put regular makeup on him,
Yeah, he'd be
and
fine.
just with his smile, the makeup would have shaped up
Oh, yeah.
perfectly to do the Joker
I
smile.
agree with that. That's a
Yeah.
good choice.
That's a really good
Absolutely, yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I'm. I don't have one.
It's like I said, it's really not.
Yeah.
Here's another question for people below in the comments. Please answer this question for us too, because there is no easy answer. There are a lot of great actors out there. There are actors who haven't even broken into the world of acting yet, who could be the next Joker. And it's never going to be an easy thing
No,
because you're
I'm
always going to be compared no matter what.
I'm trying to think of like really young actors that could do it.
I don't even, honestly, my knowledge on up and coming rising stars is very limited.
Me too.
I don't know enough. And I don't have an answer.
The first one that came to mind is like a kid that could do it. Later on, depending on how his career
Yeah.
goes and how he evolves,
Could
Finn
see it.
Wolfhard from Stranger Things.
Ah.
If when
It's
he
depending on a
grows,
lot of things. Exactly.
Okay.
he
Because
just
he's-
seems a bit too like you couldn't put Tom Holland as Joker.
No.
It wouldn't work
No.
because they have both that very teenage vibe to them. So not yet, but maybe one day.
like he's 20 years old. I'm saying
Give
give him like
him
till 30
20.
or whatever. Like
30 or
20 more
something.
years maybe.
Yeah. Could he eventually? He's the first name that came to my mind. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like he definitely has the facial structure.
That's
Kind of-
why.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's what you're mostly looking
Yeah.
for, right? The physical appearance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's honestly something that you really need for the Joker, right?
It's such a physical role. Like
Yeah. But then you're thinking also about like Heath Ledger, and he was like a huge rom-com guy, right?
Yeah.
Like very
Oh,
good
man,
looks
yeah.
and like very not someone that you would think of as like
It's
would
true,
be really
yeah.
good for the Joker, and
No.
absolutely nailed it too,
Yep.
right? Like I mean, for all we know, it could be Tom Cruise.
He is that nuts from what I've heard. So maybe he is
the
actually.
Joker doing stunts.
Oh man.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's gonna be in the truck when it flips over.
Oh boy.
Knowing him.
Oh,
My
boy.
goodness. Yeah. No easy answer. So
Not at
anybody
all.
who feels free to give us any of their opinions about it, we'd love to hear them. I think the next one will be a big one, and it has to do better than Leto.
Yeah.
Literally, that's
Yeah.
it. I mean, even Barry C. whatever.
Barry Keoghan.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna be my official enunciator for this
got you, I
entire
got you.
podcast. I'm not announcing anybody's names anymore. I give up.
After Hilder, I just honestly just
Oh
gave
boy,
up.
Hilder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Immediately we start with the most difficult one. I
Yeah.
love it. I've lost my train of thought.
It's a big role to fill. No matter who does it, they have
That's
to be
right,
ready
Yeah.
to be put in the Joker's shoes.
Yeah.
Because no matter who it is, you're gonna get looked at by millions, if not billion people. You're gonna be studied.
Yeah,
you're gonna be
100%.
compared to all-time
Immediately
great
compared.
performances.
Yeah, 100%.
So they just have to be ready for that.
Yeah,
That's the main
course.
part for me.
That's a whole mental battle right there.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. All right. This has been a fantastic and a fun time. I hope everybody enjoyed today's episode about The Dark Knight. We did jump back and forth between different movies and whatnot, but that's how we do it here. So hopefully you guys learned something new or just enjoyed our opinions about it. As always, we do have this on Spotify, so if you're on the go on the bus and you want to tune out The Crying Baby, feel free to listen over there, or as always, we're here on YouTube. We have an Instagram page as well if you'd guys like to take a look at it. We post a little bit of teasers there in advance if you ever want to know what's coming next. It is forgotten_popcorn. Go check it out. And thank you all.
Thank you guys.
Make sure to subscribe.